Hey, good afternoon. This is Mitch Tarr, president and founder of ZinMarketing.com. Today I thought we'd do something a little bit different for you. I've got some ideas for copywriting that keep coming up again and again from clients and prospects, mostly from clients. And we keep coming across these emails that I think are common amongst potentially everybody who has a list or wants to get a list and do something with it for their business. So what I thought I would do is just basically take the five most important ones and just walk you through them and tell you why they're important and what you should do for them. I'm not going to show you examples, but I'll set it up and tell you exactly how these emails should go. So here we go. These are the five marketing emails that you need to know how to write. First of all, the Reconnect email. Quite often a business has a group of email addresses that they've collected over time. It might come from your CRM system, might come from your Microsoft Outlook from just communicating with prospects and customers, might be from your Gmail account for the same purpose, might be from maybe your accounting system for confirming transactions or your e-commerce system for customers that you've done business with. But other than the actual email connection that happened the first time, that's kind of all you've done with them. So the Reconnect email is a email that you send to this list. The list is going to be old, anywhere from somebody who just connected with you last month to 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And that's part of the challenge of reconnecting with people is old email addresses tend to bounce, tends to set off the alarm bells at your ESP, your email service provider. So it's really a challenge to reconnect with a list that hasn't been mailed to before and is potentially old. Now, before you ask, you're within the CAN spam guidelines because you are allowed to send emails to people with whom you have a prior business relationship, and that includes talking with them via email at some point in the past. So this email has to be really a soft touch. It has to be something which isn't annoying, marketing oriented. This is not the time when you turn on your sales pitches. This email has to be basically a tell the truth email. Just send a message and say, we talked at some point in the past. I'd like to reconnect with you and potentially keep keep you in contact with us to see what other additional things we're doing that may be of some help or service to you. Feel free to unsubscribe at any time. We're not going to waste your time. We're not going to abuse you. We're not going to sell your name to anybody else. Just give them a nice, soft touch and send out the message. A couple of things will happen. All the bad email addresses that are old and expired are going to hard bounce and be cleaned from your list, which is a good thing. Your email service provider probably won't like it, depending on how big that block of email messages is. If you have a good working relationship with them, probably won't be an issue. If this is your first thing that you send with an email service provider, you might have to talk to their deliverability department and explain, kind of what you're doing. So just keep an eye on that. You will get some spam complaints because a lot of people just probably won't remember talking with you. But this email has to be a soft touch. So that's probably an honest touch. Those are probably the two things that make this one work the best, the reconnection email. Second one is the newsletter. This is probably the one that's the most desired to be done and also the most misunderstood. The thing about your newsletter is you can't think like a print. You can't think of it like a print piece, and you can't think of it like a website. Here's the thing that makes your e-newsletters work. Simple design, single column, white background, small header, big fonts, clean, and not very long. So when you think of newsletter and you think of, well, I'm just going to aggregate all this information and give it to people because then they can sit down and read it at their leisure. People don't read emails at their leisure. If the email is particularly long or particularly valuable, they'll create a folder for you, set it off to the side, and never go back there again. So make your newsletters such that they can be easily read, easily digested, and easily filed or deleted. So the customer or so your subscriber can just basically go, thank you very much, appreciate the information. So just don't pretend that people have a lot of time to sit around and read. Sending them on the weekend versus during the week doesn't really make a difference to this. So make your newsletters, probably the most important thing you can do for your newsletter, make it really valuable. Work really hard to make it valuable. 3 really useful pieces of information will trump 22 pieces of kind of fluffy stuff any day of the week. So that's probably the biggest point to your newsletter. Email number 3, the survey email. This one is really underused, and we've had just amazing success with sending surveys to people's lists. Prospect lists, customer lists, blue chip lists, we didn't buy from you lists, previous customer lists. And you can ask most anything, but really what makes this work is a couple of things. You use the word please and say, please take our 3-minute survey, and make sure the survey is a 3-minute survey. You can't go crazy and make it complicated. And then tell them why. If you use please, and if you tell them why, and to tell them why, you can use the word because. Please take our 3-minute survey because we'd like to hear what's most important in your universe right now. That simple sentence will be the most powerful marketing sentence that you can use for the 3-minute survey email. Don't make it long, don't make it complicated. You don't have to explain everything to the world. You don't have to offer a big incentive. Just ask for help, and you're playing into human nature. And the survey itself, make it short, 3 questions, 5 questions. Make sure it can be answered in under 3 minutes, and don't ask for information that you probably already know. So those are tips on surveys. And of course, there's entire industries based around surveys. I'm not going to solve the survey universe in 30 seconds, but those are the things that we've had really good success with on the survey email. Next, the oops email. Occasionally, once in a while, at some point, you're going to make a mistake and send an email out which is just broken. It's going to look bad, or it's going to have a link which doesn't work at all. That tends to be the most common mistake that we see from our customers or off the list that we're on. When you send out a link which is completely broken, somebody will email you back and say, oh, by the way, your link is totally broken, which is why you want to monitor your reply address from the sending. Or they'll throw it out in Facebook or in Twitter someplace and make it public, which is also something you don't want. But if you do make a mistake, the oops email is really simple. Just send to the subject line. The subject line can be oops. The subject line can be our mistake. The subject line can be we're sorry. Basically just something that acknowledges that you did it wrong, and just include the email corrected in it. And what you'll find is, what's really interesting is you'll have the highest open rates of most of your email campaigns from this subject line. Oops, my mistake, or our mistake. And the reason for that is quite simply, people are curious. What happened? They can't help themselves. And then once they're in the email, you'll have people that were in the original email. You'll have people that are in the second version of the email. And so your statistics will be quite a bit stronger. One point, though, in case you're thinking it, don't manufacture this. I've seen certain kinds of really aggressive marketers manufacture this and basically send something broken so that they can send the follow-up message and get the high results afterwards. But don't do that, because you can't go to the well with this one too often. If you send lots of oops and our mistake messages, you just look incompetent. So it's something that you use rarely when something really does happen, and it really works. So knowing how to do this is a good thing. And finally, the promotional email. The promotional email, it kind of seems obvious that you should know how to write a promotional email, but I see so many people doing it wrong. I just think it deserves a special attention, because it's so important to be able to send an email out to sign people up to a webinar, sell some product, have a sale, run a campaign, a promo campaign, clear some inventory, get people to your trade show. Whatever the promotion is, just make sure that you write it properly. And here's a couple of really simple pointers. Make sure that the subject line and the first line of the body in the message match up. Those two things have to be in sync, so that it's like a headline and a subheadline. Those two things can work together to get people into your message. Make the message short. Number 3, make sure you have a strong and clear call to action in it. Not 20 different calls to action, but one main and primary thing. The third thing is, use lots of benefits. Tell people why they should read it, why they should attend it, why they should buy it, why they should click on it. Give them the reasons. And usually the reasons that are the strongest are good old-fashioned benefits. And finally, if you can write this one so that it looks like it was a personal email that was sent from me to you, it will be way more powerful than if you send something that has fancy design and a fancy coupon and some fancy graphics in it. The personal messages that are well written, that are clear, short, with benefits and calls to action work really well. So those are the 5. Get those 5 marketing emails written properly, and you will definitely see better results on the whole. Finally, of course, ZinMarketing.com/help. We can do the work for you, or if you want to learn how to do it, you can go to nospammemailmarketing.com. We built a training program. We have lots of free video lessons like this one, and we've also got some specific ones that help you do different things. So hopefully this was useful to you, and we will see you the next time.